The Cherry MX switch was first introduced in 1983 and has quickly become the most popular mechanical switch in the market. You now have various copies of the MX switch from Gateron, Zorro, Greetech, you name it. While many may criticize the mechanism behind the MX switch, its cruciform mount has been considered a standard amongst many enthusiasts for keycap compatibility. That's why these days you've got MX stem compatible optical switches, Topre, Topre copies, and even XMIT Hall effects.
Hello and welcome back to MacMarlin for another keyboard review. Today, I've got a full-size keyboard from Varmilo, but it's not just any full-size keyboard. It's the one with their electro-capacitive switches. And as usual, I'll be providing my personal thoughts and opinions, so stay tuned.
I can't show it now, but the package was actually saran wrapped. I'm marking this down in my list of keyboards with really good packaging. It's got a magnetic clasp, a plastic spill guard, and extra dampening for protection. It comes with keycap pullers, instruction manual, USB cable, and a few extra keys if you're not a fan of the colored modifiers. This is a full-sized, high-profile and angled keyboard. It's got a regular-sized bezel and the Varmilo logo on the top right. I've seen keyboards with their logo prominently displayed, but there's something about the Varmilo logo that's not so obnoxious. Still, I'd prefer if the logo wasn't visible. For a lot of keyboards I've seen, the USB port is usually located on the bottom of the keyboard, with the cable going through channels to the left, right, or middle. For this case, the USB cable is on the back right of the keyboard. While this is a typical look for a lot of custom keyboards on the market, I can't help but think that this makes it that much easier to break the USB port. Despite that, the USB port does look very well enclosed, providing more durability. On the bottom of the keyboard, you'll see additional feet in case the angle isn't enough for you. There's also 5 rubber pads situated around the keyboard. On the middle, you'll see a metal plate with the serial number and other keyboard-related information. The case is made of thick plastic, and for a keyboard of this size, there is surprisingly very little flex. The keycaps are thick die-sub PBT and have a cherry profile. The legends are also not very gamerish. These look very similar to the sets made by Enjoy PBT. I really like the gray and white color scheme with the color accents. As mentioned earlier, if the color accents aren't your thing, they do provide the regular gray modifiers as extra keys. One thing to note is that when the in-switch lighting is on, the colored modifiers exhibit some pretty severe light bleed. The regular gray ones don't. Alright guys, get this. The stabilizers on this keyboard are authentic, cherry, plate-mounted stabilizers. I'll say that again. These stabilizers are authentic cherry. They are also lubed and have very little rattle. This might be the first keyboard I've reviewed on this channel where lubing is not necessary. However, the lubing it does have is excessive. I'd be a little concerned about the lube just spreading everywhere over time, so I'd suggest using a toothpick and removing some of it. As I said earlier, these are brand new switches, so this is going to be a long section. Varmilo plans to release other versions, but for now these are the electro-capacitive linear switches. There are several differences between these EC switches and your typical mechanical keyboard switch. Many of the advantages are due to the fact that it is contactless. Number 1. A regular mechanical switch has contact points, so it has a lifespan, but an EC switch avoids all these disadvantages. It's contactless, so the lifespan can be considered limitless. Number 2. For those who have tried other electrocapacitive switches such as Topre, you know that how the switch feels is radically different than their MX counterparts. The EC switch preserves the mechanical feel. Number 3. Regular EC switches are very hard to do maintenance on. It's due to the silica gel bowl structure that they have. But the Varmilo EC is literally easy and simple to maintain. If you're wondering if you can use these switches in your regular keyboard, the answer is no. These are electro-capacitive switches, so you'll need additional parts to calculate the capacitance of the switch. Honestly, from using it for a couple days, I can tell you that these are one of the smoothest linear switches I've ever tried. What's surprising is that they have very little wobble too. The non-contact nature of the EC switch is probably what makes it so smooth. In terms of weighting, I would compare it to something in between a Gateron Clear and a Cherry MX Red. Since these switches are new, I was concerned about keycap compatibility. As you can see, these switches have been mounted such that the LEDs are facing towards the user. While this may not give you optimal in-switch lighting, it does ensure that the Cherry profile keycaps don't catch on the protruding LEDs. I've tried these with SAs, DSAs, and they all seem to work just fine. The keyboard has some pretty basic backlighting modes. I'm not complaining here because that's the way I like it. But you've got all on, and breathing mode is activated by hitting FN plus the right arrow. You can change the brightness and frequency by hitting FN up and FN down. Caps lock, scroll lock, and num lock are isolated from the lighting and will only light up if they are on. You're also able to disable the Windows keys, swap FN and caps lock, and swap control and caps lock. You've also got media keys which you can see via the sub-legends on the keycaps. There is, however, one thing that bothers me. You're able to cycle through the lighting modes by hitting FN and right arrow, but you're not actually able to turn it off. To do that, you need to hold FN and escape until the caps lock key flashes 3 times. I'd argue that it's more intuitive to contain that functionality when you're cycling through the modes. In a market saturated with new switches, I have to commend Varmilo for not settling with just making a clone. The EC switch is both innovative and excellent. I'm a big fan of tactile switches, so I'll be looking forward to their tactile offerings. For those who like to build their own keyboards, it'll probably be a long time until any custom PCBs will support these switches.
Overall, I think this is a great keyboard. It's probably the nicest keyboard that I've ever received that's not custom made. Like, the case feels really good. The switches, those EC switches, are super smooth with very little wobble. And overall, it just feels really hefty and nice to hold. Unfortunately, I'm more of a 60-65% kind of guy, so as beautiful as the keyboard is, I'm probably not going to use it very much. Well, it might sit in the office for other people to try, but I don't know, it's really not my thing. If they ever produce TKLs, sign me up. Anyway, if you've reached this far, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button, comment down below, make sure you let me know what your thoughts are, and be sure to check out my other videos. I'll see you all next time.